This conference will now be recorded.
ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Namaste. We will now look at the meanings of the names of Bhagavan Narayana presented in Vishnu Sahasranama, verse 7. The verse, the shloka is like this. Agrahya Shashvatah Krishno Lohitaksha Pratardanaha Prabhutastrikakubdhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. The names as per the commentary of Sri Shankaracharya is like this. Agrahyaha Shashvataha Krishnaha Lohitakshaha Pratardanaha Prabhutaha Trikakubdhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. The last two terms, Mangalam Param, constitute one Nama. This is as per the commentary. So totally we have 9 names of Bhagavan Narayana in this 7th verse. Now let us take up one by one. The first Nama is Agrahyaha. The commentary is Karmendriyaihi na grihyate iti Agrahyaha, which means the one who is not grasped by the organs of actions. So karmendriyas are organs of actions: vak, pani, pada, payu, upastha. Vak is speech, pani hands, pada the legs, payu and upastha are the two excretory organs. So the one who is not grasped by these karmendriyas is agrahya. To quote in this regard, Acharya gives this verse from Brahmanandavalli of Taittiriya Upanishad. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. So in this quotation, we see aprapya, without attaining the Bhagavan. Vachaha, vak is karmendriya. It indicates the inclusion of other karmendriyas also. So vachaha, vak and other karmendriyas do not attain him or do not grasp him. So is the mind not capable of grasping him. The mind which is not refined is not capable of grasping him. So karmendriyaihi agrahyaha. So that is validated by this quotation from Brahmanandavalli that indicates vak and other karmendriyas are not sufficient or not capable enough to show the real nature of Bhagavan. It is to be noted that in the previous verse we saw aprameyaha, the term. So aprameyaha, especially the one who is not grasped by implication, the jnanendriyas. Here Bhagavan is mentioned as the one who is beyond the grasp of the karmendriyas. So agrahya. The next term, shashvatah. Shashvat, sarveshu kaleshu bhavati iti shashvatah. So the one who exists at all times. So Shashvat means Sarveshu Kaleshu, at all times. Bhavati, the one who exists. So the one who is not limited by time, who is present at all times, past, present, and future, he is Shashvataha. To authenticate, so to provide a pramana for this explanation, Acharya quotes from Mahanarayana Upanishad, Shashvatam Shivamachyutam. So Bhagavan Narayana is described by the Vedas as Shashvata, Shiva, and Achyuta. And also in Bhagavad Gita, if we see that Lord himself, Krishna himself says, Natvevaham jatunasam, natvam neme janadhipaha, nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. It is not that we did not exist in the past. It is not that we are not going to exist in the future, which means we, even including the Jivatmas and the Paramatma, so all conscious entities, that is the Chaitanyam, the Atma, exists at all times. Shashvataha. Now we move to the third term, Krishnaha. Beautiful interpretations we find to the term Krishnaha. Satchidanandatmakaha Krishnaha. Who is Krishna? Satchidanandatmakaha Krishnaha. The one who is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. He is Krishna. Existence, consciousness, and bliss. So he is Krishna. How can Krishna be described in this manner? To this, Acharya quotes from Mahabharata itself. He says, Krishir bhuvachakaha shabdaha nascha nirvritivachakaha Vishnus tadbhava yogacha Krishno bhavati shashvataha iti vyasa vachanat. Vyasacharya himself in Mahabharata has described Krishna, the meaning of the name Krishna, as Satchidanandatmaka. So Krishihi, Bhuvachakaha, which means it indicates Bhu means existence, and then Krish na Nascha Nirvriti Vachakaha. Nirvriti na, the Krish na indicates bliss, Nirvriti, happiness. So Krishna. So Krish is Bhu, existence, and Na is happiness, existence and bliss. So Sat and Ananda. So Sat and Ananda, where they are, it is also Chit. So Satchidananda Rupa of Krishna is derived from this quotation of Vyasacharya. So the very term Krishna itself means the one who is of the nature of Satchit Ananda. And this is one interpretation to the term Krishna, Satchidanandatmaka. The second interpretation is Krishna Varnatmakatvatva Krishna, or being in black color, he is Krishna. It is commonly described that Krishna is black in color. Ghanashyama. He is black like the dark clouds. So by his form, in his black color form, he can be considered as Krishna. So to this also Acharya quotes from Mahabharata. This is in the form of Krishna himself speaking about himself. Krishno varnascha me yasmat tasmat Krishnoham Arjuna. O Arjuna, I am Krishna because my color is black. So this is another form. So the first form presents Bhagavan Krishna as the ultimate reality, the pure consciousness, the true nature, the goal to be attained. Here in the second verse, To meditate upon Bhagavan Krishna, we need a rupa, we need a form. So Krishna Varna, that form is provided by the second interpretation. The goal, the ultimate place that is to be attained, that is Satchidananda Swarupa, is presented by the first interpretation. So the term Krishna has been given two interpretations based on quotations from Mahabharata itself. Now the third term, the fourth term, Lohitaksha. Lohite Akshini Yasya Saha Lohitaksha. The one who has red eyes is Lohitaksha. The one who has red eyes. Again, a quotation to this is from the Taittiriya Aranyaka. Acharya says, Samavrishabho lohitakshaha iti shrutehe. So in the Vedas, in the Taittiriya Aranyaka, we see in the context of describing uh, Lord Surya, we see Samavrishabha lohitakshaha. Surya is the reddish form. So previously in one of the nama, we see in the term Aditya, we see Aditya Mandalantasthaha. So the Purusha or the pure consciousness in the form of Satchidananda, which exists in the Aditya Mandala, is Krishna or Lord Vishnu himself. So that was given in the context of the meaning Aditya. Here also it is described, the term Lohitaksha takes us back to the sun. So he is the one who is red in color. So this is one idea. And then we see that wherever the color of or some attribute of the physical form of Bhagavan is mentioned, just we saw previously Krishno Varnaha, black color is my color, the color of the body. And here we see Lohita Aksha, here the eyes are of red color. So that is mentioned. So all these descriptions of the physical form of the Lord is giving us some idea for meditation. It gives us a form or a concrete swarupa or rupa to meditate upon. So wherever in the context of describing or in the namas, we find description of Bhagavan, the form of Lord, the color of the eye, the color of the body. So it is all to be taken as ideas for meditating. So Lohitaksha. Next, Pratardanaha. Pralaye Bhutani Pratardayati Hinastiti Pratardanaha. The one who destroys the beings during dissolution is Pratardana. So Pratardana means Hinasti. Pratardayati Hinasti. So when does he harm or when does he destroy the beings? Pralaye, in the context when the pralaya comes during the time of dissolution, Bhutani Hinasti, the one who destroys, just like the Kalki form who comes and destroys all the Bhutani. So he is Pratardana. This idea of destroying during dissolution, this concept has been repeated in the previous verses also. So why destruction and dissolution is repeatedly occurring? One probable idea may be that, so this is uttered by Bhishmacharya at the end of the war, which was a great scene of destruction. So influenced by those scenes of the contemporary era, Bhishmacharya might have given these terms which indicate that it is the God, it is the will of the God that these beings have to be annihilated or removed so that a fresh start can happen. So that's why we see a repetition of ideas about destruction and dissolution. This is the meaning of the term pratardanaha. Then prabhutaha. Jnanaishwaryadigунैः sampannaha prabhutaha. The one who is rich with virtues like jnana, aishwarya, knowledge, power, etc. is prabhuta. So the word prabhuta in general means the one who is rich. So in the context of Bhagavan, what is his richness? His richness is in terms of jnana, aishwarya. Elsewhere, we see the definition of the term Bhagavan, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Dharmasya Yashasah Shriyah Jnana Vairagyayoshchaiva Shannam Bhagayitirana. Bhagavan itself means Bhagavan is the one who has Bhaga. What is Bhaga? Aishwarya, Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya. So all these contribute, and all these are the wealth or the riches by which the Bhagavan is rich. So previously destruction, pratardana was indicated. Here it is uh, abundance is again indicated by the term prabhuta. So after destruction, after removal of negativities, fresh things emerge, and then abundance is achieved. So pratardanaha is followed by prabhutaha. The seventh term, trikakubdhama. ऊर्ध्वाधो मध्यभेदेन तिसृणां ककुभामपि धामेति त्रिककुब्धाम इत्येकं नाम. So being the substratum of the three directions, above, below, and the middle regions, he is Trikakubdhama. So this Trikakubdhama is one name that is also indicated. So what is the meaning of it? Urdhva adho madhya bhedena tisrinam kakubham api. Kakub means direction. So three general directions are mentioned here. What are the three directions? Urdhva, above, adhaha, below, madhya, in between. So these are the three directions, and this is trikakub. Dhama means the one who is the substratum. So the one who is the substratum of the realms which are above, the realms which are below, and the realms or the worlds which are in between. So the above worlds, heaven and other higher worlds are there. Below we have the Patala Loka, and in the middle we have Bhuloka. So for all the 14 worlds which are divided into Urdhva, Adhaha and Madhya, he is the substratum, and hence he is the one who supports the entire creation. So that is the meaning of the word Trikakubdhama. So this has to be taken as one nama according to the Bhashya of Shankaracharya. The next term is Pavitram. Yena punati yova punati rishihi devata va tat pavitram. So the meaning of this is that by which a rishi purifies is pavitra, the Veda mantras, and the divinity that purifies is pavitra. So the commentary, we have to see it like this. Yena punati rishihi tat pavitram. Yena, that by which, rishihi, a rishi, punati, purifies, tat pavitram, that is pavitra. So there are the various Vedic mantras. A rishi, a great sage, rishis are mantra drashtas. They have given us lots of mantras, Vedic mantras. By those Vedic mantras, by utterance, by the japa of those Vedic mantras and their utilization in various rituals, we are purified. So the Vedic mantras given to us by the rishis is pavitram. So Bhagavan himself is in the form of the Vedic mantras that have been discovered by the rishis. So Pavitram here refers to the Veda mantras, and Bhagavan is in the form of the Veda mantras. We have previously seen in the context of Mahaswanaha. In the name Mahaswanaha also, Bhagavan is glorified as being the source of the Veda mantras even. So the same idea is given in the context of the term Pavitra also. This is one dimension of the interpretation. The second aspect of interpretation is Yova punati अथवा यावा punati devata tat pavitram, that divinity which purifies. So that devata, that divine form which purifies us is also pavitram. So apavitraha pavitro va sarvavasthangatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhahyabhyantaraha shuchihi. This is a very popular verse. Just by remembering whose name, one becomes pure internally and externally in whatever state he may be in. So he is also pavitram. That devata, sa devata is also pavitram. The remembering of which purifies internally and externally, and the Vedic mantras that have been given by the rishis, that is also pavitram. So Lord Narayana is praised as pavitram as he is present in the Vedic mantras, and he is present in all the divinities that purifies, including Agni, Indra, Varuna, and all divinities, and also in his pure Narayana Swarupa. So this is the meaning of the term Pavitram. The last term in this verse, Mangalam Param. To this, the commentary is like this. Ashubhani nirachaste tanoti shubhasantatim smritimatrena yatpumsam brahma tan mangalam viduhu. Iti Vishnu Purana Vachanat Kalyana Rupatvadva Mangalam. Then Param Sarvabhutebhyaha Utkrishtam Brahma Mangalam Param Ityekamidam Nama Savisheshanam. This is the commentary. We will see the meaning. As it removes misfortunes, Ashubhani Nirachaste Tanoti Shubhasantatim, and it bestows a lot of welfare and well-being. Smriti Matrena, by mere remembrance of it, Brahma Tan Mangalam Viduhu, by merely thinking about Brahman, by merely thinking about the Sarvavyapi, Sarvagnya, Sarvatmaka Brahman, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient Brahman, all negativities vanish, all well-being, welfare, happiness, and bliss comes. So by the mere remembering of this Brahman, all this happens. So that Brahman, which is the cause of well-being and which is the remover of all negativities, that Brahman is Mangalam. Tad Mangalam Brahma Viduhu. So the very meaning of the word Mangalam is Brahman, because it removes negativities and brings abundance of positivity and well-being. Or Kalyana Rupattvadva Mangalam. So thinking about the pure consciousness in the Satchidananda Rupa, the verse says Ashubhani Nirachaste. That indicates that Brahman is Mangalam. Though Sakara Rupa, with the form, we see that Bhagavan Narayana is described as being endowed with Ananta Kalyana Guna, Kalyana Rupattvadva, because of his auspicious form. Vanamali, Gadi, Sharngi, Shankhi, Chakri, Nandaki, Shriman Narayana Vishnuhu. So he's endowed with all beauty, and his form is so auspicious. So being endowed with an auspicious form, Narayana is Mangalam. So this is the second idea or second interpretation. So Nirakara, the verse Ashubhani Nirachaste indicates that in the Nirakara state, the mere thinking of the Satchidananda Brahman removes all negativities and instills positivity. And the Sakara Kalyana Rupa of Narayana, so that also brings about all well-being. Hence, both in its Sakara and Nirakara Rupa, Bhagavan is none other than, he is auspiciousness, he is Mangalam. So this is the first term. So Mangalam is auspiciousness, and Bhagavan is auspicious in both Sakara and Nirakara forms. And the other term is there, Param. Param Sarvabhutebhyaha Utkrishtam Brahma. Brahman is that which is Utkrishtam, superior. Superior to what? Superior to Sarvabhutebhyaha, superior to all beings. So uh, it is not touched by any limitations of time, space, or objects, and hence it is superior to all beings. It is eternal, and hence it is Param. So the very word here, Param, means Brahman, which is superior. So again, Acharya clarifies Mangalam Param Ityekamidam Nama Savisheshanam. So here we see that Mangalam is auspiciousness, and that is Bhagavan, Brahman, Narayana, both in his Sakara and Nirakara form. And Param means the one who is superior, who is above all beings. So that also indicates Brahman. But these two concepts of the superiority and also Narayana being the repository of auspiciousness, both have to be considered as one name, Savisheshanam. So Mangalam Param. So in the normal course, we see that Param Mangalam. We have to reverse it. That is auspiciousness, Param Mangalam, superior auspiciousness, unmatched repository of auspiciousness. That will be the meaning when we reverse the words Param Mangalam, superior auspiciousness. Which is that? It is Brahman. But if we go by the very order of the shloka, we will get Mangalam Param. So Param itself means Brahman. So that Brahman, how is that Param? How is that Brahman? It is Mangalam. So it is auspicious Brahman. So either way, the uh, adjective, both of them can act as adjectives. But in the normal course, we see Param Mangalam, is superior auspiciousness, is the general way of understanding it. But Acharya has not specified as to what is Visheshanam and what is Visheshyam, what is the noun and what is the qualifying term. But he has indicated that this is one nama. Mangalam Param is one nama where there is a qualifying term. So when we think based on that, both can be taken as the qualifying term and both can equally be the noun. So the point is, to summarize the meaning, it can either mean Mangalam Param. Param is Brahman, the auspicious Brahman, or Param Mangalam. Brahman is the highest or the superior auspiciousness. Both. So this also shows the richness of meaning that is possible by looking at the commentaries that bring forth these great ideas that purify our mind by looking at the interpretations. So this is the ninth and the last nama of this seventh verse. So thus far we have seen in these 7 verses of Vishnu Sahasranama 64 namas or names of Bhagavan Vishnu. Om Tat Sat. श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।